her book free, and we'll be talking about that as we do the interview. But I'm going to let you, in your own words, tell us a little bit about yourself, Anika.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate being on the show. I'm a fiction author, and my first book is a collection of short stories, and my work has also been included. I was very honored to have it included in an African American literature anthology called Gumbo, and subsequently it was broadcast on BBC 4 radio. And since that time, I've actually been working on an historical novel that's loosely based on my Pekasset Wampanoag and African American ancestry here in New England.
Mm.
And I'm kind of dabbling a bit and getting a lot of respect for science fiction.
Oh, good, wonderful! That's my favorite genre.
That's what Sharon writes.
I write science fiction.
Oh, okay. It's not easy. I'm learning.
No. Creating those worlds sounds easy until you get around to actually doing it. So.
Yep.
And you are in Massachusetts?
I am,
okay.
In the western part.
All right, okay. Tell me a little bit about, well, I don't know what to talk about first. I am intrigued by your book. I don't quite know, I mean, I haven't read the book, obviously, but I do have a series of comments that came from, I guess, from your the website of the Random House, or who was your publisher, Random House?
Yes.
And the questions or the comments have to do with some of the stories in the book. So the theme or themes of the stories, do they tie together?
Yes, the overarching theme is I wanted to explore what the prisons are that we're born into, and those that we create, and how do we break free. So I took the concept of freedom and I turned it around several different times with several different characters. You don't meet characters again, but the theme comes up in different scenarios with different types of characters. I've embedded it originally in kind of the what you would consider more of a traditional civil rights kind of concept of freedom, but then I tried to broaden it into things like what is the connection between freedom and death, freedom and motherhood, and so forth.
Okay. So the title of the book is Free, or is it because when I was looking at, I thought it had a longer title than Free, but is that the title of the book?
Well, technically it's Free and Other Stories.
Oh, Free and Other Stories, okay. So give me an example of one of the stories that kind of expresses what you were talking about in terms of tying that theme together.
There's one story that I've actually read quite a bit in schools with young people, and it has to do with a young boy who is having his whole world kind of crash around him. His parents are getting divorced, and he's losing his dog, and he just begins to, he's at the age where he's, middle school age, where he's questioning adults and their hypocrisy and so forth. And he begins to have to look at, what it means to kind of be free in the world without his mom and, without the things that are dear to him. And, what the cost of that is. And there's a connection between him and having to lose his dog, who has to, be put down, and be free. So there's lots of different ways I try to play with that idea.
This was published some years ago, in 2003. What kind of reception did your book get at the time it was released? Actually,
it was kind of surprising to me because when I first, you kind of can't choose the ideas that come to you, and initially I was hoping, that a novel would come to me first, but I was told when I said that I had a collection of short stories that short story collections didn't sell, and I was not really encouraged by a lot of people to go ahead and do it. But the reviews were actually very favorable, particularly for, somebody who was new on the literary scene. And I had a good run there, with, lots of places. I mean, now the publishing houses, even the big houses, unless you're a huge, huge author, they're not going to give you a big promotional tour or anything like that. But I was able to ride on a lot of the reviews from Kirkus and Publishers Weekly and Library Journal. Boston Review. I really can't complain about the reviews that I got.
I'm going to read something that I actually printed off the website about the book, and it says, "In spare, elegant stories reminiscent of the writings of Harlem Renaissance writer Dorothy West, Anika Nailah illuminates the emotional, spiritual, and social realities that shape and sometimes destroy the lives and dreams of ordinary African Americans. The stories in Free offer a moving, striking, original perspective on how cultural experiences and social assumptions impact our lives. The characters include young children trying to cope with the mysteries of adult behavior, adults striving to define themselves in a society unwilling to accept who and what they are, and elderly people looking back on the often difficult choices they have made. They all share a yearning to be free of the ties imposed by others, ties that bind their bodies, minds, or spirits." That really covers a lot of territory there.
Yes, it does, and it actually reminds me that I had this ambitious ideal when I was writing it, that someone who was born in one skin, or who had a particular gender assignment or a particular background could actually walk in the shoes of someone else that was totally different from them. That was my
Right.
my hope, that somebody could experience what it was like to just be somebody else.
Right. Well, in reading this, it sort of reflects the African American experience, but in reality, we've all been there. We've all felt in a prison that we have self-created, and so I can see that the appeal for these stories is certainly not necessarily tied to color or circumstance.
Exactly. That was a door for people to go through, and hopefully once they got inside the room, they could actually, identify with what they saw in the mirror as well.
Right. Wonderful. We have a bookstore in our community here who can get books, and I'm going to order this one because I think this sounds like really a fascinating a take on what it means to be free. And I also want to talk very quickly about your other project that you launched and now is sort of, I guess, in the hands of others. But tell me a little bit about Books of Hope.
Oh, Books of Hope was one of my babies. It happened for me in the sense that I had taught New York City high school for a long time, and I had a lot of success with young people. And I knew that there was a community of young folks in the projects that were next to where I lived, and I knew that they had a computer room, and they were just kind of hanging out, not doing anything. And I thought, wouldn't it be great to get them to write books? And I told my friends that I was going to do this, program. I was going to create a program where these kids were going to write books. And they said, Anika, that's kind of ambitious. What about stories? And I was like, no, you don't get it. They're not going to believe that they can write books.
Right.
And that was the thrill, that these were kids who did not self-identify as writers at all. And many of them were first and second generation Haitian young people. And it just blew them away that they were able to actually write, publish, and sell their own books.
That's amazing. I have actually watched some of the YouTube pieces that they have on YouTube, and it's really kind of interesting to see them stand up. These kids stand up and actually read what they've written about themselves and about their lives. It's really an amazing thing, because I think kids already feel like they're not, like they think about all the things that they cannot do as opposed to the possibilities. And I have with me in the studio Maggie Romai, who is the regional director for Big Brothers Big Sisters in our area.
Hi, Maggie.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
I'm enjoying listening.
I can see where maybe using this as a method of bringing some of these kids out of their shells maybe
Absolutely
would be helpful.
And I know that from my own experience. I was an abused child, and grew up in a very difficult home situation, and being able to write and tell my own stories made such a difference for me. It allowed me to escape that prison of poverty and abuse.
Right.
Absolutely. Adolescents are so rich. They have a kind of creativity that adults who are creative would kill for, and they don't even know it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There was a study done many years ago where they had like third graders writing poems, and then students in like high school writing poems and comparing them. And the third grade poems were so richer, so much richer and creative and just beautiful poetry. And the high school students were so stilted. It's like their that belief in creativity had just been lost
Right.
as they got older.
They've already created that prison.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
For themselves. So, and this program still continues.
Oh yes, and I'm really proud of that because I didn't want to produce a community of Anika Nailahs. I really wanted to leave this as something that the community could own,
Right.
and it's still going strong.
Fantastic.
I'm happy to say.
That's great. How can someone find out? Like, if someone in Las Vegas, New Mexico, wanted to take this on as a possible project, how would they go about finding out more about this?
Well, if they wanted to take it on as a project, I mean, I can tell them how they can actually, if they Googled Books of Hope, they could get to that particular website.
Okay.
If they wanted to learn how, the creation of it and how I pulled that together and, my ability also to, to talk with more people about that or maybe to recreate that in other places, they can just get in touch with me directly.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you would like? It's been a pleasure talking to you, Anika. I'm really very much interested in getting your book. Also, encourage you to continue with your science fiction writing, and also to explore those real stories that are around you, because obviously you have a feel for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been great talking with you both.
Thank you. And anything you would like to add?
Not much, but I guess maybe to all the writers that are out there, if you're struggling, you're on schedule because writing isn't.
It is a struggle.
It's a struggle, but that's why we do it.
That's right.
For what comes in the end process.
Great. Thank you so much for calling in today, Anika. You have a great day.
You do the same.
Happy
Bye-bye
Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Bye-bye.